Hi, welcome to the 11th month of the production of Bleeding Abyss. I'm doing a voiceover for this video since I wanted to try it out. On top of that, a lot has been done this month, so I didn't want to overburden you with reading text for 10 minutes like in my previous videos. So let's get started, shall we? Now that the demo of the game has been out for a while, I noticed that a few streamers started playing the game, which is really nice. This is because I do have a few playtesters, but they are not really in the gaming sphere, so to say. So as a result, they don't tend to be not as critical with the feedback as I hoped they would be. But now that I can get a honest critique, I can see the flaws of my game better, which opens up an opportunity to better my game even further, since I noticed the people who come across my game find it pretty interesting, but not in a way that it's worthwhile playing yet due to the amount of small issues it has. Nonetheless, I think this game still gets respected even by the people who don't think it's their type of game. People have been very kind to me so far, and it's very motivating. So I've been working mostly on improving what there is rather than creating new content. First off, the game was too difficult for people, and even if I made the game easier multiple times, it wasn't enough. So I decided to bite the bullet and add difficulty levels to my game. Yes, this took some time and went a bit against the spirit of my design, but I think it's important for people to be able to play the game if they want to. Of course, there's the argument to be made that making a game appeal to a wider audience strips it away from the, let's say, essence of the game. But I think that in my current position, it's most wise to focus on getting an audience first, you know? Also, the game now has a hard mode, so I can finally enjoy the gameplay again, since the game got a tad bit too easy for my taste. Further, on the topic of difficulty, I don't know how difficult the easy difficult will be, so just to be sure, I've added cheat codes for the player who really struggle. This includes infinite health and infinite hunger. These are already available from the beginning of the game, because I can imagine that people don't like the hunger system in the game, but just keep dying. On top of that, I've also added plenty of other cheats that unlock after you beat the game. This keeps the game a bit fresh. The demo was considered in a finished state when it was in version 1.0, but every time you realize there's more work to do. The game is now in the version 2.4.1, shows you how much I've been stuck in this odd state of limbo. Nonetheless, I don't think there will be a 2.5 demo version soon. So what did I fix this month, you may ask? Lots of small things, honestly. For example, I made it so that the first offering to a statue gives you a reward. When you first encounter having a star or blade on your screen, it now shows a tooltip on how to use it. Talking about tooltips, general gameplay outside of combat now also has tooltips. Now players know the options available to them, such as the option to check your progress and also the option to check your items, since it's easy to forget what you need to do and what you have accomplished so far. The menus in the game now wrap around, so menu navigation is now easier. This took more time than you might think, mainly because I'm still bad at programming and everything else, of course. The main menu called How to Play has been changed to Beginner Guide with a little arrow saying it's recommended to click on it. It shows you a simple compact version, what everything in the game means, together with some hints to get you started. When it comes to player accessibility, it's also important to note that your game can run in the first place. So I've been investing some time to improve the performance of the game overall. The way I've achieved it is by simply loading everything at the start of the game. It now takes up a bit of time to start up. Now during combat you don't get hit by unfair lag. Lag was also very nasty for this game, since a lot of things break thanks to lag. Enemies that go out of bounds and inputs that get eaten. The recipe for unfair gameplay. Another thing that's mandatory nowadays is having achievements in your game. However, this game is already difficult, so beating something is already a reward of its own. But despite that, it's good to motivate the player a bit more. And it's also useful for me to be able to see how far a player managed to get in the game. You might be surprised that the combat has been changed yet again. This time the focus lies on the bosses, since I noticed that the bosses could have a bit more oomph to them. You getting hurt already slows down time, but I never thought to put more attention to your accomplishments. Beating a boss for me is an afterthought. For a new player this might be something big, so the thing I did is add a bit more oomph to that side of things and tweaked a few other things like dynamic lightning. The slowdown bosses give on breaking and dying give the player a second to evaluate the situation. So this is a plus as well, especially on hard mode. Things can get quite hectic over there. And last but not least, hitting the boss with your blade no longer gives iframes. This is mainly because a broken technique in the game makes things a bit trivial if abused. Things like clearing out every enemy on screen and maximizing your stats in the progress. Changing all this brought a lot of bugs and glitches to the game, but I think it went mostly alright this time. This can take up a lot of time, but to be honest, the thing that costed me the most time was the amount of heat waves there were this month. Really cuts into your time when you can't concentrate. Despite that, I made sure to use the days where I could focus fully to my advantage. So now a lot of things work as intended, although a few things might creep up from time to time. The concept art page in the game was mostly done already, but it was still missing the concept art itself mostly. This is mainly because I design things as I go, so a few things were still a bit blurry in my head regarding what I wanted it to be, but I'm happy it's done now. One less thing to worry about. Well, here you go. That was most of the things I worked on this month. There are of course a handful of other things I could talk about, but those small things may be worth mentioning another time. So anyway, thank you for your time. I hope you liked this video. Let me know if you have any complaints or any feedback regarding this new video format. Maybe I will do it another time. So thank you.